Yeah. Uh, Hi everyone. Welcome to all of you for joining the Progate Learning Jam today. This is the hands-on with Python part one. This is this. We will be doing two series in this. In this series, we'll be taking two sessions, and there will. This is the part one for the same. So I really welcome you all for today's session, and you all have earned the spot by completing the first lesson of Python. Yeah, let's start. So yes, I am Ankita. I am working with Progate to help them out with the community of Progate in India. So currently we are doing a lot of community activities to help the students take their first steps towards programming. So in this process, we are doing a lot of activities like learning weekends, like learning jams, code with Ken, which are hands-on learning, and also they we since Progate has inbuilt code editor itself on the platform, they can learn while coding at the same time. So these kinds of activities we are doing in India as of now. So this is about me. So most of you know about Progate because you already have completed the first lesson of Python on Progate. But for those who don't know, I'll just let you know in short. So yeah, Progate is an online coding education platform for absolute beginners. So we have inbuilt code editor inside the platform in which you can learn, and at the same time you can practice coding. So you don't have to go through long videos and code at the same time because it's a bit tough for a beginner to learn through videos and then code at the same time. So that is why with Progate, it's very interactive, and it's very in a fun way in which you can learn at the same time. Yeah. And yes, we have like Progate is a beginner friendly platform. So even if you're a novice and if you have not learned programming in any time soon or anytime before this, so you can definitely come on the platform and start from the very basics. Yeah, so the vision of Progate is to empower everyone to open new doors to programming. So what we want to help to the students. So currently in Progate, across the world, we have 1.5 million learners who are learning like you. You have learned Python for this particular learning jam. There are many students who are taking part in various activities, and they are also taking part to be a part of many online activities. So they are coming to the platform and learning. So that is the vision of Progate. We want to empower everyone to take their first steps towards programming because we start from the very basics. Yeah, mission. So for every beginner, like if I was a beginner when I was in my college days, when I was a beginner, I was very confused which language should I choose and which path should I follow. So there are so many languages in this world. You know, there are Python, there are Java, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then many languages are there. So you always need a gate to start with, right? So gate means that you need a language where you should start with, and the path you should follow. Like if I have started with HTML, CSS, then what language should I learn next? Like JavaScript, React, what language? So you always need a path. So with Progate, the mission of Progate is to help you to take your first steps and also give you the path. Yeah. So now, what learning jams are? Learning jams are a hands-on experience for you all from people from tech industries. Like they're experts already; they have experience of over years to code, and they're coming back to the community, and they want to give back to the community in some other way. So they come together and take the session for people like you, for students who are college engineering students right now. Yeah. So let me introduce you to today's speaker. She is Disha. Yeah. So Disha is currently a senior data scientist in Deloitte, and she has 6 years of experience with Python, SAP, machine learning, and deep learning. So yeah, she will be your mentor for today, and we will be doing hands-on coding. It's completely hands-on experience for you all. So if you have any problems or if you have any questions between the sessions, please feel free to ask in the chat. And for the people who are viewing us on YouTube, feel free to ask your questions on the YouTube live chat so that I can answer them over there. And yeah, so she's the mentor for you today. So please be polite in everything you ask, because we all are learning something today. And please be active, so that you will be able to cope up with what we are learning. This is the part one of the series. We will be continuing in the next part also, everything. So let's start with today's session. Over to you, Disha. Yeah.
Thank you, Ankita, for the great introduction. And let me just start by sharing my screen. Okay, I hope it is visible. Right. So I hope, can you hear my voice?
Yeah, Disha.
Okay. Okay, so let's get started. So, good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a good Sunday. And by joining this session, you are actually taking one step towards being Python expert. Um, so, as Ankita has already mentioned, right, this is my way of giving back to community, because I was also a self learner. I went online and took some courses, and then I actually now I'm pretty comfortable in Python. And without further ado, let's just get started on the session. So today we are going to do a hands-on on Python. This the main the main mission is to create a simple library management system. Okay. Now, first of all, before getting into anything, let me ask you, why are you learning Python, right? What is the purpose? I'm just going ahead and assuming that you all are interested in problem solving. That is why you are taking all these courses, right? Right. You want to go pursue into data analytics or data science. The basic funda is problem solving, right? Now let me take you to an older era. So let me take you to my college. I'll tell you the reason why. So this was my junior college. This is the Ferguson College from Pune, and this is the library. The building on the left you see is the library. It's a humongous building. It has two floors, and you can see there are so many books. And in the older system, what was the way to find a book, to search a book? How did the librarians manage to issue so many books and still maintain an organized system? So, this is the answer. This is a card catalog system. So, as you can see, it is extremely manual process. They actually keep each and every drawer alphabetically arranged, and you have to go and search for the author's name or the book name, and then you get where that book is placed. But let me tell you, when I was in college, I never found the book at that specific shelf or that specific floor. And here are when the engineers are entering, so they in some or the other language implemented library management system and solved this problem. Now the card catalog system has been dead for quite a few years, and almost all new libraries have library management system implemented in one language or other. But we are also taking this problem and trying to see how and in what way we can solve this problem. So all I'm saying is, just don't learn a language for the sake of job or for the sake of trend in the market. Try to see how you can solve the problem. So get to the problem, see the reasons, and then learn any language, and then try to solve the problem. That will motivate you to be an expert in that domain, right? Now, before going into actual coding, I'm assuming that you all have finished your first basics lesson on Progate. And I'm also I'm seeing some chats, Ankita, that my screen is not visible. Is it visible to you?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So for the environment setup, right, I'm assuming that you all have some or the other kind of editor, like PyCharm or Jupyter Notebook, or even if you have Python installed, you can just write your code on Notepad and run it using command prompt. If at all some of you don't have the environment, then please, I would request you to go to this site. Just Google this repl.it space Python, and the first link will take you to an environment where you can directly start coding. There is no need of setting up anything. You can just start typing a Python code. So can we get the response on the chat that do you have the environment ready, and we can then get started. Okay. Yeah, you can use any other editor if you want. If you have Spider or Atom, PyCharm, anything is fine. Just have something ready, because let's keep this interactive, right? Don't just see the video, type with me, and that is the entire aim of this session. Okay, right. So let's cover a few concepts before we start actually building the library management system. Um, First of all, so as per the Progate course 1, I think you all are aware of at least the data types, then variables, and conditional statements, right? Um, so I'm assuming that as the first, yeah, I'm assuming that as the base. And now I will introduce you to something called data structures. So what are data structures? They are actually the way in which the system stores the data in the memory, right? So there are quite a few types. In Python, we have lists, we have tuples, we have dictionaries, strings. There are a few, and I will give you an overview of lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Let's just get right into it. So what is a list? Okay, now assume you, for some reason, you want to store some maybe n number of values in a continuous memory. Don't worry about the memory allocation right now, but assume that you want to store some values, and this is how you can store the values in a list. So the syntax shown on the screen is list is equal to square brackets and the values. Now, if you notice, the values need not be in a consistent data type. You can store a number, or you can store a string, a float value, anything basically. You can also store a list inside a list, but that is for the advanced part. So for now, please note this syntax, that the list always has square brackets. Okay, this is the first thing. And how is it allocated in memories? One after the other. So assume these are chunks of memories, and this is how the values are stored inside it, right? One after the other. And let's say you want to read the list. So how do you do it is, we'll see it in the coding part, but you can use the index of the cell. And in Python, all the indexes, they start from 0. So the one value that is placed here, that has an index of 0. The hello value has an index of 1. So we'll come back to it. But for now, this is how the list is stored. Okay. Then let's move on to tuple. Now, tuple is extremely similar to list. Okay, if you see the storage of the values is almost same. You can't really see the difference, right? But the syntax, if you see, the tuple has round brackets and list has a square brackets. The main difference between these two data structures is that lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. Now, what is mutable or immutable? Mutable means they can be updated. So let's say tomorrow you want to change that 30.2 in the list to 31.2. You can go ahead and do that, because list will allow you to do that. But tuple, you will not allow you to do that. And that is the main difference. Okay. So these tuples come into play when you need some security for the data that you are using, right? But these are the main data structures. Now let's move on to the important data structure for this session, which is a dictionary. Now let's go back to our school days, and let's try to remember the days when we used to actually use the dictionary, where we used to have a word and the meaning next to it, right? I hope you all know what a dictionary is. That is the same concept you can extend to here. So here, if you see, there is a value called apple, and then there is a colon, and then there is another value called fruit. So what is happening here is you are placing a value called apple, and you are treating this as a key, and the value next to that key is fruit. So what is a dictionary? It is a key value pair, uh, and that is the structure which comes in handy when you want to keep values in pairs. Okay. So for example, Badshah is a singer, then value of pi is 3.14, and so on, right? So we'll come to why this is important. First of all, how does this, where will this find place in the library management system? This, we will use dictionary to find the one book. Will keep the key as the name of the book, and the value will be how many copies of that book are available currently. As simple as that. We will have, let's say, networking, and it has 10 copies. Then we will have some novel, and it has 10 copies. So that is the purpose of the dictionary. Is it clear till now? We will start with the live coding now. I hope everyone is ready. Let's just define this sample library. Let's call it, let's just call it library, right? Why complicate things? Okay. So as in the presentation slide we saw, we gave the key as apple and then the value as fruit, right? Let's change this. Let's get some let's get some book names. Can you suggest any book name? Let's say we have networking, and we have 10 copies of it right now. Okay. Then, oh yeah, my favorite, Harry Potter, right? Let's say we have 20 copies because librarian loves Harry Potter, right? Then, okay, cyber security, getting serious here. Okay. Let's say we have 5 copies. Okay. Um, Please note syntax here. Okay. The dictionary uses these curly brackets, right? We saw list were using square brackets, tuples were using round brackets, and dictionaries use curly brackets. And the way we define it is, this is the key, whatever, it can be a string, it can be a number, and then we place the colon, okay? It indicates that the key has ended, and then you place the value. It also can be a string or a number, and after that you place a comma so that you can start with the new key value pair, right? Yeah. So you can place multiple key value pairs in the same dictionary with this syntax. Is this clear? This is a way of defining a dictionary with already existing values. What if I don't have any values right now? What if the library is new, I don't have any books? So the way we can define it is, DICT is the key. DICT is the function call. So every function call has square round brackets. Okay, we can come back to function calls, but for now, please remember that DICT and round brackets means you have created a dictionary with no initial values. Okay, and the bottom part is initializing the dictionary with sample values. Okay, that is how you create a dictionary. Okay. Now, what is the agenda of this, right? There is a librarian. She's bored of doing all the tasks by herself. And what we are providing her is a system where she can just pretend that there is a robot, and she can just give orders to the robot that do this, insert this new book, add these many copies to the new book. Can you issue this book to that student? And the robot should only do the work. That is the main aim of this whole system, right? So for that, we will have to know what are functions. So I'm not sure if you already know about the functions, but functions are nothing but extremely small part of, automation. So they are these chunks of code that act as some entity to which when you call, it will give you back the results, right? So let's replace this robot with our function definition. Okay, so this is like a very simple robot which will perform some task, and it will either print the results or it will return the results, basically perform some task. So that is our purpose in this session. And what the librarian stands for, it stands for the function call. So we are basically calling a function, and that call will reach the definition and perform some kind of a task. Is it clear? Please let me know on the chat, because this is an important part. The entire session is based on this. So what is actually happening here, right? We have function name. So function underscore name will be replaced by some user friendly function name. Okay. Then we have round brackets. Functions have round brackets, and inside the brackets, you may or may not have parameters, right? So let's say when we tell, assume it in hypothetical world, you are telling the robot to insert a DBMS book. So your parameter will be DBMS because that is the book name. Okay. And what is happening here is that was a function call. I hope that is clear. And this is function definition. So DEF stands for definition, space, the function name, and the parameters, whatever we need. And after closing the brackets, there is a colon. And then Python is based completely on indentation. I hope you already know that. And then after the definition, we give an indentation, a tab basically, to write the tasks that come inside that function. So this is the syntax basically. Let's just go back to our editor and type a simple code. I hope you all are coding with me. So let's do one thing. Let's print the items of this library, right? So what was the syntax? It was DEF space, then the function name. What should we, let's keep it print. Oh, sorry, let's do it here. Print library. Okay, this is our function name. And for now, we are not passing any parameters. We can just go inside it. So this is the indentation, right? You either you can use tab, or you can basically use spaces equal to the amount of the tab amount, right? Or you can just do tab and write print library. That is all. That is a simple function to for printing this library dictionary. Okay. Are you all with me? Have you all written this code? It's just 2 lines. Let's just try running this. It did not run. What happened? Can someone tell me? There is nothing on the output. Okay. What has happened is you have defined the function. Okay. But nobody has called the function. That is right. I see some responses on the chat. That is exactly the issue. We have not called the function. So let's just call it. The way we call it is just print library, the function name, and then the round brackets. This is the function call. Let's run it now and see what happens. It works. We can see all the values that we have as assigned here, and it's working successfully. So that is all. This is a simple syntax of how to define a function and how to call a function. Now, let's get back to our system design, right? We actually want to design the library management system. Now, before that, okay, how do you think this function got the value of the library? Inside this function, we have not defined any value, right? How did it get the value? Okay, so there is a concept of variables, right? What are variables? They are uh, some allocation of memory where you actually store the values. So here, this is nothing but a global variable. I mean, it is open for this function to use, right? When you define a variable inside the function, let's say I define the value as hello here. This is called as a local variable because it is defined inside the function. And this is not a local function, it is open to all the functions. That is why you were able to print this inside the function, right? Okay. Now, I want some answers from you. Now we discussed that we are building this system so that it's easy for the librarian to perform the daily tasks. I want to know what all functions can we create so that it is easier for the librarian. So we know the obvious things, like we should be able to add a new book, or we should be able to add the number of copies. But can you tell me what all functions, yeah, can be defined here? Yes, someone says find a book. Yeah, that is correct. We can write a function to search a book. What else? Come on, guys, be interactive. Yes, we can add book, we can delete book. Okay, find all books of an author. Yeah. Oh, date for return of the book. Yes. Some genre. Correct. Renew the issuing of the book. Right. Register new students. Correct. Yep, all of them are correct, right? So that is how you basically go about designing a system. You think about what the functions you want to implement, you note them down, and then you start writing the program for it. You just don't go and start coding. That is not how it works. So let's first see what all functions we want to define, right? Okay, right. This is known as a UML diagram. Um, Don't worry about the definition for now. It is a use case diagram where these round oval shapes, they mean that you are looking for these functions to be implemented in the system. So as you all gave so many suggestions, right? I've added a few basic functions like add a book, delete a book, then print all the books that are present in the library, then issue a book to some student, return the book, then calculate the charges. Let's say somebody is late, he or she has not returned on time, so calculate the charges, and then search a book. Now, what is this? This is a function with include connection to this issue a book function. What this means is when you issue a book, right, before issuing, you'll have to check in your store that whether that book is available or not. So this check availability function is included in this issue a book function. Whenever you start designing a system, right, just try to make it practice that you put it in this kind of UML diagram, and then you go and start building your code. Okay, now without further ado, let's go and start writing some code. Okay, let's do add the book first. I hope everyone is coding with me. So let's just write DEF, which stands for definition. Name of the function will be add book. And then let's pass, we should have a book name to add, right? Yeah. And let's also add a parameter that how many number of copies are we adding in the system. Okay. What are these two? These two are parameters. Parameters are nothing but one kind of variable in which you pass the values to the function definition so that it can work, perform the task based on that, those values. Okay. Now let's write the task. What should be done? This is our library, correct? Where we have the book name, colon, the number of copies, right? So we need to add every entry into this dictionary. So let's do that. How do we add values to a dictionary? What we do is write the dictionary name and then use square brackets, right? This could be a little confusing, but please understand that in Python, whatever type of data structure it might be, I mean, mainly lists and dictionaries, the indexing is with square brackets, okay? So this, the syntax that I'm going to write, it it is library of book name is equal to number of copies. Okay. What can you guys please keep yourselves on mute? Okay. So what this will do is it will take the library dictionary, it will add a new keyword that is the book name, and it will assign the number of copies. Okay. Let's call this function add book, and the book name is, let's say, DBMS. Please note that the strings are always in single quote or in double quotes. You can't just If you write any text without the quotes, that becomes a variable name. It's not a value. Okay, that is the first parameter, the book name, and second parameter is number of copies. So let's put 14. Okay. Okay, and this function call, let me put it after this, adding the book. So the intent is we will add this book and then we will print the entire library. What we should see is now, along with these, we should have another entry of DBMS. Let's try that. Yep, we can see that DBMS has been added and the new record has been added with number of copies as 14. All good here till here, guys? Are you all with me? Are you all writing the code? Okay, great. Awesome. I see a lot of responses. This is great. Let's keep the momentum going and let's work on main function for now. Okay, let's take small break from defining user defined functions. These are called user defined functions because you gave the name to it, you gave the parameters, and we have defined what task it should do. What is the main function? The main function is a system function. Whenever you run a program, right, any file, first of all, the main function will run, and then anything else. So that the syntax of that is if underscore underscore name is equal to brackets underscore underscore main underscore underscore colon, right? Are you all with me? This is your main function, right? Let's just these functions calls, let's put it here. Okay, let's run and see what happens. The same thing is happening. Let's come back to the definition. Okay, the main function, as the name suggests, is the main function of your program. What the underscore underscore name means is whenever you see a variable with double underscore, okay, it's loading. Whenever you see it with double underscore, it means that it is a private variable, and you are checking the name means the function name. So it's checking if it is main, then that is your main function of the program. For now, don't worry about what is happening, why is it happening. Just this is a main function. If you think it is too difficult to grasp, you can just keep this for now. We can come back to it in the next session, and you can just call these functions outside like we were doing, right? So I'll just comment these. Okay, let's comment these and let's come back to our function definitions. Okay, quickly now, we already did an add a book function. Let's do delete a book. Okay. Before going there, right, what we did here is we added the book, but what if I want to add more number of copies to the book, right? So let's say I have gotten a stock of networking books of more 20 copies. So what we can do is let's define that. Let's say update copies, the book name for which you want to update the value of the copies and the extra number of copies that you have. Same kind of syntax, just the task is changing. Now we are calling, we need that particular book, right? So we are addressing this call to that particular value. So the book name. Now can someone tell me what are we going to put here? Should I put extra copies or something else? That is correct. We don't want to update the entire value. We want to add these to the older value. So we will do, but how do I get the old value, right? The trick is to use this syntax. What is this? This is nothing but whenever you do this dictionary and provide the key to it, it will return the value that was assigned to that, right? So if I say, if I want to print library, if I print library networking, it will give me the value 10. So it gives me the existing value at this key. Okay, so that is exactly your old value. And you want to add extra copies to it. Is this clear? This part is nothing but the old value plus the extra copies. Okay. Now, why are we doing this? This is nothing but assignment. So in the old value, we are assigning this new value. Okay. That is all we are doing. And because we want to update only for that book, we are taking this here, that library of book name, and then assign that value here. Okay. This is how you will update a book. Now, after updating, let's see, okay, fine. Printing is, we have already done printing. Now, what if we issue the book? When you issue it, the number of copies is now reduced, right? You have taken the book, you have given it to someone else. Now, let's issue a book, right? For issuing also, you will need a book name. But we don't care about the number of copies right now, because when one time when this function is called, you are issuing only one book. For now, because this is a simple system, we are not worried about whom the book is assigned to. We are only worried about the number of copies. In the next session, maybe we'll come and see that whom the book is assigned to, right? And then check when was the book assigned, then for how much duration is it allowed, and all that stuff. So for now, let's just worry about the number of copies available, right? So again, let's call library book name. And this is again library book name to get the older value, and we are subtracting 1. We don't have to pass any number of books here, because all that we care about is there is a book in my system, and we need to give one copy to this student. That is the issuing of the book. We are not taking care about the issue date or time here, but we don't care. Now, one catch here is, if you remember this diagram, here if you see, issuing a book it had check availability included inside that function, but we have not done it. Now imagine that I'm checking for book, some book, Da Vinci Code, okay, my favorite, but there is no such book in the dictionary, right? So this will throw an error, and it will throw an error. It will interrupt your program, and that is not how a program gracefully exits. Yes, we have to check if we already have that book, and if there are a number of copies, are at least one book should be present. Now, how do we do that? Instead of putting the code here, right, what I'm going to do is I will define another function, so that you know how to make a function call from inside another function. Now, let's name it check availability. And whose availability are we checking? That book's name. That's all. You don't care about anything else. How to check availability? Now here is where a function called, sorry, a feature of the dictionary comes in handy. What is that feature? It's called dot keys. Okay, so library, sorry, library dot keys. This will return all the keys present in that dictionary. So from here, sorry, we'll get networking, Harry Potter, cybersecurity, and also DBMS, because we have added DBMS here, right? Now, how will we check if a book is present in that or not? If condition, of course, if the book name is in this list. this will return a list. Okay, if that book name is present in the keys, then that means the book is present. But let's say the book is present, but the number of copies is 0. That will also throw an error. So let's add another condition. If the key is present and library of book name is greater than 0, then we return true. What is happening here is you have applied an if condition on, and there are two conditions, right? Separated by and. What and will do is, I'm not sure if you already know about logic gates and all. If you know that 0 and 0 is 0, then 0 and 1 is also 0. I hope you all remember this. What that means is, if either one of this fails, then this will not pass, right? So if let's say there is a book name present in the library, but this condition has failed, that the library of book name is not greater than 0, then it will not come inside to run this. Okay, it will just go out. So both the conditions need to be true, and then it will come inside and it will return true. Return is a keyword that will help you to send some value back to the calling function. Okay, so here we are just sending the Boolean value of true. True is nothing, it's just like, yeah, the book is present. Okay, now what we will do is we will call this function check availability inside the issue book function. Is this clear? We are calling the function from inside another function, right? Now if you now we just saw that we are sending something from some function, right? We need to catch it. Somebody is sending you something, you catch it. So let's catch it in a variable called availability equal to check availability. So you get the availability, you get this whatever the value is in availability, right? Here, don't you think we forgot something? If the value is, if the book is present, it will return true. What if the book is not present? We have not written the else part, right? Let's write else return false. Okay, now it looks complete. And what we will do here is we check availability is true. Only then we will decrease the count of the book from the library. Otherwise, we will not do it, right? Else, basically, we don't want to do anything. Let's just print the value here that book unavailable currently. Okay, this was a little complicated than the earlier code that we have done. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post it in the chat. I'll just quickly review. We have made a call to this function internally in another function, and then check the value of that availability if it is true or false. Only if the availability is true, then we are decreasing the count. Otherwise, we just display the message that it is unavailable currently. Okay. Okay. Now this is a very simple kind of coding structure. There are multiple ways that you can optimize this entire code, which we will definitely cover in the next session. So I would request, I would urge you to join the next session to see how you can optimize all the code. This is considering that if you have the basic knowledge, then you will be able to understand, right? Okay, where were we? We are done till here. Now let's return a book. Okay. Returning is nothing but a similar kind of function. Return book, the book name. Okay. We don't have to check any kind of availability here. We will just increment the value of the book. So library of book name. Of course, we need the old value and we add 1 because one book has been returned. Okay. This is the function to return the book. And then the last one is to search a book. Search the book by book name. Okay, how do you search? Now, we saw one function of dictionaries here, library.keys. Okay, you can either search it in the book name in the keys exactly like we did here. So we can just copy paste this. If the book name is in library.keys, then print book available. Else, if it is not present, print book unavailable. Simple as that. Okay. So yeah, these are all the functions. Now, if you have any doubts, please post it on chat and let's take a look at all the doubts. Okay. Can we print a message instead? I'm not sure for what part this was. Maybe this part. I'm just assuming. You can print it, but what is the point of printing, right? It will print the message, but you can't really decide what you want to do next, right? Shouldn't we call the function availability without assigning a new variable in the if? Yeah, that is one good value. So you are saying basically, what if I put this here, right? Yep, that is also true. What this will do is it will get the value directly and it will check it in the if statement if it is true or false. You don't even have to do this, right? This is just a layman's way of checking if it is true or not. But how the if condition works is it evaluates that particular condition to either true or false. So this doing this is actually an optimized way of doing things. We can optimize this in many ways, and this is yeah one of them. So that is correct. What else? Does the calling function have to have the same parameters as the called function? Yes. Uh, because when you change the parameters, right, it changes, it's not the same function anymore, right? Unless the function in the definition, if you have mentioned that this is an optional parameter, then it might work. But yes, to be general, function caller and callee should have same parameters. Line 20. Are you facing an error on line 20? Let's check. Let's make a call to check availability. Sorry, there is no is in Python. Yeah, the here and here. Yep. Okay. Why is nothing happening? Because what we have done is if the book is available, then we are returning true, right? But here we are not doing anything with that value. So let's print this. False. There is no DBMS book currently in the system. Okay, let's see why. Let's see what all books are present right now. Let's make a call to print library. Run it. Okay, there is no DBMS right now. If you see here, there is no DBMS. The program restarted. So the add book that we did is no longer applicable. And this is the output of this check availability function. I hope the error is now gone. Okay, the syntax is in, not is in. Next question is, One more good point here, we need to pass the book name, otherwise it makes no sense, right? Okay. On line 28, can we just write if availability? Yeah, before this we had availability equal to true. You can only write availability. That is actually a better way to do that. For others' convenience, there are beginners in this, so I just used equal to true, right? Okay. Okay, a very good question. What if instead of capital, uh, Harry Potter with HNP capital, someone searches for lowercase Harry Potter? It won't work, right? It is a comparison of strings. So this is where system design comes in play. You can't really go live with such a system. You need to take care of IDs. So generally in libraries, you don't have the keys as the book names. You use ISBN number. I'm not sure if you know that. They are the unique keys that every book has. So instead of these book names, right, you should have some unique ID like ISBN to search, to add and insert and all that. So I'm just using the book name here for simplicity, but you should not use string as keys because it will not match with any other cases, right? Okay. I think we have covered good part of this system. We have added books, updated the copies, issued and returned the book, right? Searched the book, checked the availability before issuing. Um, yeah, we have covered a good part of the system. There is one more question. Are the words case sensitive in Python? Yeah, function names are case sensitive. Strings also are. I mean, you can't say that this Harry is equal to small lowercase Harry. Okay. Um, you can find the whole this simple program on my GitHub repository, which this is the link. This was a very basic session because most of you are beginners. I have focused mainly on simple syntax, but in the next session we will optimize the code further. We will add few more features to the system like student registration and also use object-oriented programming if the time permits. We will definitely cover the concepts and implement them in this system so that there is a continuity. So go check out the code on this GitHub link. And if you want to connect with me, you can use the LinkedIn account, right? The next session, I think, will be on 12th. Ankita, correct me if I'm wrong. And I hope because you guys have attended the first session, maybe you'll get an email or something for the next session, right? So that is all. I think we are over time. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Ankita, are you there? Ankita, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, we have covered the entire system and few question and answer session.
Nice, nice, nice. So, guys, do you have any questions regarding today's session with Disha? I think.
Yeah, I think we have covered a lot of questions while
Yeah,
coding.
nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So they're asking, can you share the links in the chat box above?
Yeah, that is the GitHub link where the code is placed.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, we'll place it in the chat box. I can
Okay.
give it to you, Ankita.
Yeah. So, everyone, we will be continuing the next session on 12th of July. Yeah, 12th of July at 4 p.m. Disha, same timing?
Yeah, same time.
Yeah. So you all have already joined the Progate dashboard. So I'll be sending you the communication over the email. and so that we can continue with the next session. So I hope that all of you really like the session, and you, yeah. So most of them are saying thank you.
Yeah.
They really loved it because it was, I could see many of them in like interacting with you,
Interactive, yes.
and they were very active.
Right.
Yeah.
Great audience.
Thank you everyone for joining today. And thank you so much, Disha, for taking the first session of the series. And it was really helpful for everyone. I can see many of them are saying thank you, thank you. So
Yes.
yeah, it was a really good session. So
Yeah.
let's see you all in the next session on 12th July. Thank
Right.
you. Bye
Thank you
everyone.
all. Bye.